Okay, hello, Chani.
Hello. Finally, we get to do this.
Yes, we do. We get to do this. Sorry for the live if we're a little late, but you'll be able to catch the recording. And I'm really excited to have you, Chani, as a guest today on our Jewish Women Entrepreneurs podcast, because last time we spoke, you interviewed me. And I love interviewing, but I also love being interviewed. So thank you for that. We had so much fun in this interview. And we said we have to do it again. And here we are doing it on our podcast. So I'm very happy to have you today, Chani.
And I thank you for having me. It's really exciting for me to be here with you because I really believe in what you're doing. So we have a lot to talk about.
We do. And we're going to dive in the conversation. But first, let me just tell everyone who you are, what you do, and then we're going to start with all the very exciting questions we have. So Chani is the founder and editor of the Uplift Jewish Women's Magazine, which is a global project for women 35 and above to have women-to-women conversations on topics that are relevant, such as health, lifestyle, home, and inspiration through media, podcasts, and live events. So we also can say that Chani and I met through the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Global Network. You came, I think in the beginning you saw something on LinkedIn. Was it on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think I saw it on LinkedIn and I was just interested in what it was all about. So I came and I was really blown out of my mind because I thought it was so fabulous how you had this group of women from all over the world. And I just thought it was a really great idea. And it talked to me because it's something that we're doing on a different way. So I thought, you're talking to and I can never say the word entrepreneurs, but
right.
It's my father. Everybody has tried to teach me how to say that word. I cannot say it, but you're talking to people in business and I'm talking to really any Jewish woman. So we both have a whole sisterhood, as you call it, but we have it in different parts of society, which is really good.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly a proof. I mean, I love to say that it's exactly a proof of how networking actually works, right? Because networking means that you meet people. Sometimes you would never, sometimes, most of the time, you would never have the opportunity to know that person. Like, what is the probability of you and I having a conversation? First of all, we need to say that you are in Manchester, right? In England.
Yeah, I'm in England, in Manchester.
I'm in Jerusalem, Israel. Of course, we have, technology and social media, but, this is the beauty of networking. And that's also why I founded this networking, because I can meet people like you, and then we can say, oh, wow, we're doing the same thing. This is so, aligned in terms of our goals and our vision. So let's have a talk. And that's what we did. We had a talk. You interviewed me and I'm interviewing you.
I'll tell you more. I've met other people on your on the JWE, and we've connected, and we are starting a podcast because of this. So I'm quite excited about,
I know. I think you're talking about
Susie.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's really fantastic. We've had such a common ground and we're really looking forward to it. So
it's amazing. She just told me this morning, she's like, yeah, we're starting a podcast. I think it's about women and money.
And money. That's right. Women and money. Bad subject. Great subject.
Yeah, that's a great subject. So that's great. I love the ripple effects. That's what we hear, right?
That's what we both hear. And I'll tell you on my side, how my thing works. Last night, I was in London. Not last night. Yeah, the night before. I was in London. And we were finishing a shidduch that came about, a match came about through the Uplift magazine. So
wow. So
it's unbelievable. So it works in so many ways. Yeah.
I want to take the time to understand what is the Uplift magazine. I want you to tell us the story. I know there is a story behind it, but I want you to share it with everyone who's listening to this interview. And then I want you to tell us this shidduch, the match. That's really exciting. So we'll start from the beginning, and then we'll continue.
We'll get to there. Yeah.
The match. So first of all, tell us, what is the Uplift magazine? I said in your bio that it's a magazine for women 35 and above. So first of all, I love that you are being specific about the age, because when we hear women, okay, it's Jewish women, but there are so many subjects we can talk about. And I know that you speak a lot about women to women conversations. So I want you to tell us what you mean by that. And I want you to tell us also, like, what are the topics? Like, why would someone be interested in reading that magazine? So that's a big question, but I'm sure you'll do fine
Yeah.
with it.
Okay, so I'll start in the beginning. So what
Yes.
is the Uplift magazine?
Yes.
The Uplift Jewish Women's Magazine is an ode, I would say. It's oh, hold on, I just lost you. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
I
Okay.
touched my phone and something else happened.
That's
Okay. The Uplift, it's an ode. It's a present to my mother's memory. And
okay.
that's how it started, and why I started it, and what it's all about, and why it's her present is it's all about my mother. Meaning, it's not like you're going to open the magazine and read every single pages, Rebbetzin Chaiki Rubin was. No, it's not like that. What it is, it started when my mother died very, very suddenly. She was 71 years old, but she was a Rebbetzin. She was a keep fit teacher. She was a mentor. She was a Kala teacher. She was everything in one. And besides that, she was absolutely stunning. And she had this capability of walking into a room and everybody would gravitate towards this. She was really beautiful, my mother.
Wow.
And she really died very, very suddenly from 1 minute. She said goodbye to my father and just died.
Wow.
Like, she had a major brain tumor, a brain bleed.
How long ago was that, Chani?
It was exactly 3 years ago.
Wow. And you still talk about it as if it happened yesterday. Wow.
Yeah, I know. To me, it happened. My mother was 16 when she got married, and she had me at 17.
Wow.
So we really were like sisters, and we were very, very close.
Wow.
And what I found when she died, which was right before COVID started, so it was like a month and a half before COVID started. So what I found happened was all her students and the people that she mentored and the people that she, taught exercise or anything, any way they connected with her, they were lost. They were physically lost. They came into the Shiva house and they were as if they had lost their mother, because she had helped them in so many ways in their life.
Tell me, Chani, like, I definitely understand, and I can only imagine what, personality your mother was.
Yeah,
I want you to take us back to that time where you said, I want to do something for my mother, in the memory of my mother, and then the idea of a magazine came. Because I know we can do a lot of things.
Yeah, right? We could go into this so deep.
We can do different things. We can, buy a building. We can, I don't know, sponsor or, give charity, or some people open nonprofits. I'm sure there are different ideas. And I want you to take us back to that time where you said, in order to honor my mother's memory, I know that a magazine for Jewish women is what is honoring her memory. What was the connection for you there?
Okay, so what the connection was when COVID started, I realized that we had made a little group in my mother's honor that we got together once a month, the women, and they talked. And it was just a very simple thing just to keep my mother's memory. But then when COVID started, that stopped because we weren't able to meet anymore. Mm-hmm. So I started having like a WhatsApp group. And then I realized that there were a lot of Jewish women who didn't go on the internet, who had no access to social media. And I realized, you know what, they need this just as much as anyone else. So I started, that was when the idea of a magazine came.
So
and in the beginning,
make it accessible to maybe
to everybody.
More Orthodox women that don't have WhatsApp maybe, or don't have
that was the original plan. But I also think that at the weekend, when a Jewish woman has no social media, that's when she's the most likely to read a book, a magazine. But today, the attention span is so short. So we have a 15 minutes attention span. So when we read a magazine, we don't want deep books. We just want something that's quick and easy, which that is.
Okay. So let me ask you the next question that comes to mind, because we're talking about Orthodox. You are Orthodox.
Yes, I'm definitely.
We're talking about making it available for that. But I want to understand, like, who is your readership, and are you writing this only for Orthodox women, or is it open to everyone? I want you to tell us more about that.
Okay, so I thought in the beginning this is just going to be like very orthodox. That's my, but the truth is that's not what it is at all.
Okay.
It's become open to everybody. I have writers that are from every walk of life, but the main thing to me is always speaking about things very openly, but in a very respectful manner of who is reading it. And that could be anyone. I feel very, very strongly that these subjects, we speak about subjects such like menopause, we speak about osteoporosis, we speak about people who have any kind of a breast cancer. We speak about all kinds of subjects.
They're very relevant for women, right?
Yeah, always for women. And because we have women writers speaking to women, we could bring it all out into the open, and we're not frightened that somebody who's very religious will bring it home and say, well, my kid is home and they're reading this. Why did you write about that? Because we're very, very open about it.
Time, and at the same time respectful. And I remember that one of the first thing that you said to me when we spoke about the global network, and you said, I love the variety of women there. You said, I love that there were women, and it's true. I mean, we have women from the whole spectrum.
Walks of life. Yeah.
Right, all spectrum, women that are covering her head, women that are not, women that are religious, women that are totally secular, because as long as you're a Jewish woman entrepreneur, that's what it is. And I think
I'll tell you more. My father and my mother were a rabbi of United Synagogue shul in England, which is not your typical religious shul. A lot of people come to shul by car. I mean, it's really not. And my mother was the star spangled banner of that. They loved her, you know what I mean? And that's why.
Right. If this is in memory of your mother, then
and that's why I really try to reach everybody.
That's
but
amazing.
I have the specific that I do have, and people ask me, why don't you do it younger? Why don't you do more trendy? And I said, no, because actually I'm in my 50s, and I find that when we go through the changes in our life, and we have to start making new plans, like we have to meet you have to find yourself in a new way. Right. Your body changes, your home life changes, your friendships change, and you have to re-find yourself. And the only way you're going to do that is by speaking to someone who's going through that. Yeah. And that's why we have this that's why I call it an open conversation. Right. Because the openness is understanding who I'm talking to, which is actually myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I agree with you that, I mean, I'm sure men too, but especially for women, we have different periods of life. And in each period, we need to have different conversations and we need to relate. But I think that you're right. I think there is something that happens, let's say, in the second part of our life, where we don't have this natural community around us. We don't have the kids' school. We don't have the community. We have to recreate that community. And that's also why I'm passionate about sisterhood and about networking and people talking to each other. So I think that we're very, very aligned with this. But tell us more about the content. You started talking about breast cancer, about menopause. So I understand there's health, and I'm sure that's
there's lots of, we have a very big section towards health.
So you have different sections. So tell us more about the different
I think the best way to talk about it is actually to show you what it's all about.
This is not everyone will see, but you can definitely
show. Okay, so I'll show you and I'll explain you. Okay, so this is our cover, which is really nice. It's very, very colorful. It's the painting is done by someone called Eliza Martin. She's Eliza Martin Fine Arts. You should have her on your show because she's just fabulous. She takes care of our art section. Okay. So she's our art editor. So we have a whole art section, and we really have fantastic. This month we had someone called Kathy Morris. She's actually really interesting. She's deaf, and she was able to make she came to art quite late in life, and she's just amazing. And
Okay. So
then we have something called inspiration. So we have every time that we bring out the magazine, which is 4 times a year, we have one article devoted to a different charity
okay.
in the global market.
Okay.
Then we have a conversation with women. I don't know if you've ever heard of JWOW,
Nope.
Jewish Women of Wisdom. So they are a group of women in their 60s more, and we give them a subject and they answer according to their, what they think. So it's 3 women and they come up with the most amazing answers. So that would be one section. Then we have a little bit of a journal. Then we have beauty and fashion. We really do cover
You cover every topic.
every it's like a regular magazine.
Right.
It's that we have home, how to set up your home. This time we had
So
about
that's
spaces.
a very big spectrum of topics, and you
Yeah,
said it was printed. I mean, that you come out 4 times a
we
year.
come out 4 times a year, but we
I
build
want to
it.
ask you also, like, is this only a printed version? Do you also have an online version? Like, how does it work if people, want to get
Okay,
it?
so we have a printed version that's available in New York, London, Miami, LA, and Manchester, of course. But we also have an online version, which you could download either a copy or you could subscribe there for the current issue. And we also have a community. So we have a WhatsApp group and we also have a podcast, so that it's a steady, we continue always having this conversation. In
Nurture
the
the.
long run, we'd like to, to bring this out much more, but at the moment we're keeping it to 4 times a year.
Okay. And so this community, does it mean that if I subscribe tomorrow to your magazine, I get access to the WhatsApp group and I get access to it means that I'm right away integrated in a community in the WhatsApp group? Is that what it
Okay,
means?
so I tell you the truth, we haven't done that yet, but that is something that I'm really thinking about, because I think that's a really good way of
So
going.
that is really taking me to my next question, which is, what is your vision? Because the magazine is tangible, it's something you can show, it's something you just spoke about, and you said it's published and printed in different countries. How many readers do you have, just so that we close around the magazine? You have
Okay, so I would say around 6K,
6,000
6,000 at the
people. So
moment.
you have 6,000 people reading it, or Jewish women reading it. But I know we had that conversation, you and me. So I want you to tell me and tell everyone, like, what is your vision beyond the magazine? Like, the magazine is here, you've done it, it's available, but I know you have another vision behind it. So
Okay,
what
so the vision of the magazine is, it belongs to a charity. It's a charitable organization, which is called the Inform All Project. And the Inform All Project treats a family as a holistic whole. And we give help for the parents, we give help for the children, we give help anyone in that family unit. And what I felt very much when my mom died was that I also wanted to give the women tangible things that they can hold. So when a woman is depressed, I wanted her to be able to get a gift bag. I wanted her to be able to have numbers who she could reach. And I wanted all that to happen. Another thing, when somebody's ill in the hospital, I wanted them to get something. Obviously, that's costly. So what my future plans are is to build a community of women who will be able to be voluntarily giving, be part of this community that gives to the woman who's in the hospital, and we want to bring the funds back to the charity to be able to do that. And the
wow.
way we're going to do it is by building this, whole community.
So you're really talking about a support group. You're talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
women helping other women and doing it in the beginning on a voluntarily basis until you can raise more funds, and then
yeah,
do it on a bigger scale. Wow,
yeah.
that is
That's
fascinating.
my ultimate.
That's your ultimate.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. So we have time for one more question, and I don't want to let you go without you telling us the story of the shidduch, because we're
Oh,
all
okay.
here, like,
It
where.
really is. It's a really weird one, but it's the second one from Uplift, but this one is a real interesting one. when I started it, I put out a call on LinkedIn and I said, I'm looking for writers. And one of the people who came forward, she's on, we wrote the story on LinkedIn, so it's okay to say her name, is Anna Kleiman. She's a Jaroslavich. And she said to me, we had a good discussion. She didn't feel that she was right for it, but her daughter, whose name is Leah, she thinks she's good for this. Fine. She joined the magazine. She wrote. She's a fabulous. She writes about. She's actually a sommelier, and she also writes about Geschicht, which is having a home and how to start it and what to get. When you get married, what to buy, what not to buy. Very, very interesting. Okay, very nice. We connected, and it was going. And then, like a year later, her mother said to me, she's in Shidduchim, and
Shidduchim meaning she's looking to get
she's
married.
looking to get married, right? I all this thing, I wrote matchmaker, make me a match. It's not about that. It's about somebody was looking for a spouse, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so the mother says today a lot of people have a resume saying, like, when you go to the blind dates, you have to give what you're looking for, whatever. Okay.
Right.
So I look at the list and I said to her, there's a lot of friends, but you need somebody who she works with who could give a good, as an adult, as a person of an older age, who could give something. So I said, what? Put my name down.
Okay.
Totally forgot about it. Totally. It slipped my mind.
Okay.
A few months ago, my friend calls me up. She lives in London, and she goes, do you know your name is on somebody's resume? I said, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, yeah, Leah. I said, oh my God, she put my name down? She goes, yeah. She goes, the only reason I'm looking at this paper is it says your name.
Okay.
P.S. I got involved and they got engaged.
Wow.
Her son to her, yeah.
So
and
that is how community works, right? It's you being on social media, looking for a writer, getting in touch with that woman who probably you would never have spoken to.
I would have never met her. I don't know.
Never met her. And because of that, because of you going out there and building that community for this magazine and looking for writers, then we have a couple who already got married or is getting married.
No, they just got engaged. They just got engaged.
Wow. So that is a beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing it with us, Chani.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah, and I also want to say thank you for all the good that you're bringing in the world, because
thank you.
What you do is, I know, right now you're saying you're printing magazine, you're editing the articles, you're looking for writers, and this is so much work, and all this in the memory of your mother, but also for you to create those ripple effects of goods that we are doing in the world.
Yeah. At the moment, it's really a labor of love and a real labor for me, but it's because it's money wise, it's like it's all coming from a charity. We don't get paid. We do this all willingly, but I hope eventually it will pay for itself and it will be something that will grow.
The definition of money is to bring value, and so you're definitely bringing value, and so at some point this value can be and should be and will be translated into money. That's thank you so much for coming as a guest on the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast. That's exactly why we have the podcast, to talk about those initiatives, those projects that bring women closer to each other, especially Jewish women. And we'll put the link to the magazine or to where you can get it in the description and in everything around the podcast. And I'm sure that we'll continue to do great things together, Chani. This is only the beginning.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to join the WhatsApp,
yes,
I'll give you the information.
We'll also post the information.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chani.
Okay, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Yes, nice to see you, and we will see you in the next episode of the Jewish Women Entrepreneurs Podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.